Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Deja Vu here, bringing you the fourth set of Samsung Con versus Height Sparkies, and we've got a pretty good set in store for you here. This is going to be none other than JangBi for Samsung Con, my favorite player, and then we've got Horang2, whatever you want to call him. I like calling him Horang2 because it entertains me to say Horang2. It's Horang2 for Height Sparky. So we're going to have Horang2 starting out in the bottom right. He is going to be the orange Protoss, and JangBi is going to be in the top left, the teal Protoss, and this is Fighting Spirit. Big map, huge map. So definitely got a chance here for a longer PvP since the two players are starting at cross positions. Of course, rush distances make it so that way early game pressure will be a little bit harder to achieve. Of course, if you have certain builds, like if one of these players goes 3-gate Goon and the other one goes like, I don't know, 1-gate Nexus or something equally expansion heavy, there's always the possibility for that rush. But I don't expect to see that today. I don't expect either of these players to do something like that. I think we're going to see some pretty standard play. JangBi, I think, JangBi actually does do expansions quite a bit early on in PvP. I think that is a build that he tends to favor, but I think against Horang2, I think he'll play a little bit safer. Horang2 was known for a while as kind of like the Neo Nara. He was coming up with some pretty innovative cheeses. They weren't as good as Nara's epic cheeses, but they were pretty solid. And just in case maybe Horang2 has something in store, I think JangBi will play a little bit safer. Just overall. And at least to start here, we can see that both players are just throwing down gateways and pylons. Nothing all too significant going on. We do see JangBi going for a scout, whereas Horang2 is choosing to keep mining here. So this actually could end up being significant in that Horang2, if he doesn't get to JangBi pretty quickly. I mean, they are at cross position, so it is entirely possible that JangBi could actually get a Zealot on his ramp in time to stop the scout, although Horang2 has just sent it out, so perhaps not. Just a very, very slightly later scout. I think he's going to be okay. And he's going cross positions. What is this? Map hacks for Horang2. Totally map hacking here. He is going straight for JangBi's base, and what a cheater. That is pretty awesome. That is just, I think he might have been checking for proxies in the middle, and you know, you go cross position and you get that check, as well as getting a lucky scout on your opponent at the cross position. So pretty good there for Horang2. Good guesswork, good play, to be honest. And is Horang2 gonna get something on the ramp in time? Oh man, it looks like JangBi's gonna be the one who isn't gonna be able to get the scout on here, and that is really bad right now for JangBi. Let's see if he can maybe do some probe trick here. I think he's actually gonna maybe go for it, maybe try to use the range of the probe to harass that Zealot, get the Zealot to move down, and then try and wrap around. No luck here. Horang2 is not gonna have any of it, so JangBi is not gonna get a scout in here in any way, shape, or form, and Horang2 is getting a pretty normal scout here. It looks like the core for Horang2 actually came up a little bit earlier. I think JangBi maybe went for 2 Zealots before core, whereas Horang2 just went, or yeah, JangBi went for 2 Zealots before core, whereas Horang2 just went for 1. Horang2 can do this because obviously with this out on the ramp, you know, he can play a little, he can cut some corners if he wants to, and without too much risk to himself, as long as he micros this Zealot correctly, he'll be in pretty good shape. I suspect that JangBi will probably go with an Obs first build, and I have no idea what Horang2 is going to do. He's got lots of options right now since he has that. Since he does have it hidden, he could go just standard, go for Reavers. He could go for a pretty early expansion here. If he gets once he gets a Dragoon out, he could actually try and pick off that probe and go for an Expo. Also a possibility. Pretty much Horang2 has no limitations right now. He can do anything in the book. By denying that scout, which is just a huge advantage in my opinion, just an astronomical advantage to deny that scout. Horang2's scout did just finally get ushered away by that Dragoon, and actually did get caught out in the middle and fell. So there you go, JangBi actually able to kill that scouting probe. But let's see, do we have any tech buildings? There's the Robo, so we are going to have a Robo here from Horang2, and JangBi is going for a Robo as well. So this is interesting. Both players going for Robo first here, and which one of them will go for Reavers before Observers? That usually is going to be the most important thing here, since neither player is really going to be able to scout the other one out. Chances are one of these players will want to get their expansion up and understand what their opponent is doing, play a little bit more defensively, and go observers, while the other one will likely go reavers. It just so happens that it seems every game where both Protosses go Robo. One almost always goes Robotics Facility, and the other one almost always goes Observatory. Yeah, for whatever reason, it doesn't seem like both players do pick the same thing all that often, and that is really going to be the critical tech choice here. And it looks like Horang2 is actually setting up for an expo, so I suspect that he'll be going for an observatory first. And there is the Nexus, and they haven't shown it yet. And JangBi, is he going for an Nexus too? Maybe they both are actually going to go expansion builds. And nope, never mind. JangBi's probe is going somewhere. JangBi went for observatory first, and Horang2 went for observatory first, so I think JangBi should be setting up for an expo right now. Yeah, he is. Horang2's will be slightly ahead. I don't think that'll really come into play. Both players will have it within about a minute of each other. Shouldn't be too much of an economic advantage for Horang2. He would have to be macroing very, very impressively for that 30 seconds or so to really come into play. It would be a pretty incredible timing attack to take advantage of that 30-second window, but don't think it's going to come into play here. Both players, I'm sure, throwing up robotic support base. There's Horang2's and there's JangBi's. So there's going to be a very, very much a mirror game here, and it'll all come down to micro. And yeah, Reaver micro is going to be excessively important in this matchup. And also important is who goes for more Reavers. Sometimes you'll see one player will only produce 2 Reavers with their shuttle, and another one may produce up to 4 Reavers, even getting a second shuttle. And that could be something that we see here. Differentiating the builds from these two players. The player who only goes for 2 Reavers should be going for faster High Templar, and the player going for 4 Reavers obviously going more for Reavers, and their High Templars will be a little bit later with their Storm. So if it goes to a late game, we'll see who goes for that the Templar tech first. This is gonna be a pretty fun battle when it happens. I think no engagements really early on here means that we're going to see a huge battle, and one of the things I love about PvP is that you just have these huge armies. Like you have, between the two players in the mid game, you have over, well, armies of close to 200 side total, like 100 on each side fighting each other, and somehow both forces melt in like 10 seconds because there's so many Reaver Scarabs, so many Storms that do so much mass damage that everything just blows up, and it's just like the coolest thing ever. I love it. At least that's me. I love PvP, and I love seeing things blow up in mass. And JangBi has a nice little idle probe here that's chillaxing. Hopefully he'll figure that out. Yeah, and you can see how Horang2 is just a tiny bit ahead here on most things. You know, his expo's up just a tiny bit earlier. His gateways are up just a little bit earlier. Just small advantages here, and that can actually build up because he could have a couple more Dragoons in a fight or something like that, and that can be pretty significant if he can do that. If he can get a flank in correctly or something like that, he can actually that can end up being significant. And he still has that idle probe. Come on, JangBi. Come on, JangBi. Fix that probe. I don't think he has any idea that thing's there. Whatever. Both players playing defensively here, getting 2 Reavers out for Horang2, and I think JangBi has 2 out as well, defending their bridges, posturing very, very defensively. Which means both players could actually set up for a third base